thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to Liz and Jerry for just being incredible mentors in my first year in office. And a special thanks to Jerry for explaining all of redistricting, so I won't have to answer any of those questions in the rest of this portion. But it's really an honor to be here with all of you and see so many people that I've been able to work with over the past year plus in office. It was working together that we were able to pass 6 bills into law in this first year, which was more than any other freshman got done. Thank you. It included, by far, my most popular bill, which was raising the fine on telemarketers. I know they're still calling, we're working on it. It included working with Senator Krueger on passing a bill to expand the number of optometrists in New York so that you can actually get an appointment. There were interstate licensure issues that were actually leading to a restriction there that the senator had been working on for 10 years, and we were finally able to get that passed this year. And it included expanding the number of judges in New York State. So, as many of you have heard me say, our trials in New York take far, far too long. And there's many ways of measuring that, but my favorite is that Rikers Island, right, the New York City jail, where 85% of the people being held there have not been convicted of the charge for which they were being held. Definition of a jail versus a prison, right? Rikers Island has the longest average length of stay of any jail in the country. It's not exactly the same as saying the most backlogged court system, but it's pretty close. And that's on the criminal side where we actually have some laws around speedy trials and restrictions there. On the civil side, cases just keep going. And so I was able to work with Senator Hoylman-Siegel to add 20 new judges in New York State, but I couldn't add any to the state Supreme Court, which is really the workhorse. Most rooms have to explain what the state Supreme Court is, but we have many judicial delegates here, so I'm glad I don't have to. But I couldn't add any to the state Supreme Court in Manhattan, the Bronx, or Staten Island because, speaking as Liz was saying, if no one reads the New York State Constitution, there is a limit in the New York State Constitution on the total number of judges per jurisdiction that has been there since 1925. And on its 100th year anniversary next year, I want to get rid of it. So that is how we'll celebrate it finally going through. So that is my top priority coming into this year. The governor actually took that bill and made it part of her budget proposal. So I feel really good about being able to get it passed this year. My second priority, many of you have already heard me talk about how I'm the first Democrat elected in New York at any level with a degree in computer science. A fact that I find 10% cool and 90% horrifying. But as we think about AI and both the opportunities for it, but the risks for it, how we can take the right steps at the state level. And one of those steps is requiring that if you use AI to make a deepfake video or audio or image as part of a campaign, that you disclose that you say this was actually manipulated, this was made with AI. People thought that was a hypothetical. Then you had the Ron DeSantis campaign do it, you had the Donald Trump campaign do it, you had a still unidentified, I believe, call go out in New Hampshire in Joe Biden's voice telling Democrats not to go to the polls. You have it happening right now in this room. You have the recording of the fake recording of Keith Wright, our county leader, denigrating an assembly member. So this problem is here. I wrote that bill last year with Senator Kevin Parker to push it forward. And actually, in her 30-day amendments last week, the governor also made it part of her budget proposal. So feeling good about being able to move part of that this year as well. I'm really being cautious as to what I choose as my third priority because the governor might make it part of her budget again if she does with the first two, but there's a whole variety of things we'll be working on this year, including making sure there's more housing so that we can actually continue to grow and New Yorkers can afford to live here. It includes taking action, a lot of local action that I'm working with Senator Krueger on, including protecting the Knickerbocker Grays, making sure that companies that refuse to register with DFS and submit to regulation have increased fines. Both of those bills are bills that Senator Krueger carries. She passed in the Senate last year, and I'm hoping to get through the Assembly. as well as working on e-bikes and micromobility, in making sure that we have reliable data on the accidents that occur, and ensuring that mopeds, which are already required to be registered by law, but aren't, are registered before they leave a store. And I'm doing that bill with Senator Krueger and Senator Hoylman-Siegel. So I will keep Senator Krueger's promise to be brief, and pause it right there, but happy to answer any questions from anyone as well. But I just want to end with a thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for all that you do, not just locally, but as has been reiterated before, nationally. We need to take back the House, we need to hold the Senate, and we need to win the presidency. Sadly, the House does go through New York, so there will be local aspects to be done here, but we'll also need your help door knocking and calling and visiting in all the other states for the Senate and the presidency. And I thank you all for the work that I know you will do. So thank you.
All right.